Welcome everybody to the what month is it? June monthly meeting for EVCO. The agenda today is should be pretty interesting. It's stuff that we don't usually cover that much, anyways. But we'll talk about first. Actually, it's going to be the Adam show today. So he'll talk about using EVs to power the Blackburn Fun Fair. What that was an interesting experience and something we want to repeat. So he'll talk about that. Then he'll talk about his electric barbecue, which I talked to my dear wife about, and I'm hoping maybe there's one in my future. But anyways, then we did some testing of a new charging station on Industrial, right? At the Pioneer there. Is it Pioneer?
Yep.
Anyways, so we went there last Monday, and several of us and did some testing, and actually we did the Toronto coffee there on the weekend. So Adam's going to talk about that also. Then we'll go to the news as usual. Then past and future events. So we've got a few other events on the calendar for this year, and then we'll do the roundtable. So Adam,
we EVCO participated in the Blackburn Hamlet Fun Fair just right outside there. And every year they have bouncy castles. This year they had a lot of bouncy castles. We had, I asked my wife, we had like 2 or 3, maybe 4 last year. This year there was 6, and there was a couple enormous ones. So the organizers, no, it's just batteries. Okay, so they ran out of generators last year. It was very noisy. And like, it's that noise that you don't realize that is noisy. And then when the fireworks came Saturday night and they shut them off for the fireworks, everyone was like, it's just, you just realized that you were stressed because of all the noise. And like, there was palpable relief in the crowd when they turned everything off. So the organizers approached us, and see if we could power these with electric vehicles. So the ask was for 11 15-amp blowers. So each of these big bouncy castle blowers takes basically a 15-amp circuit, right? We'll see later it's about a kilowatt. So, you know, we were counting up on our fingers, and we figured we'd need 2 trucks and an EGMP car, and we were trying to figure out kind of the car. And I was not able to participate with my car because my kids were like doing activities, so I couldn't bring my car from up the street. So we had to figure out exactly what we wanted to do. So we asked around various dealers. Myers GMC said, well, we have a single Sierra on the lot, and if we haven't sold it yet, you can have it. And Jim Key Ford, they said yes.
so how many you want? Is what they said.
Yeah, how many go? Yeah, so
Well, that's their address. They
yeah, they said yes. Then Jim Key Ford, we say yes.
Yeah,
We're gonna have to edit that out because you know I'm gonna have to.
that is staying in.
Okay. So we arranged to pick up 2 F-150 Lightnings from them, but we didn't know that was going to be it. So we arrived Friday afternoon-ish. Ryan and I picked up the trucks at Jim Key Ford. We drove over here, and we found 6 inflatables in the midst of being laid out, and there was 10 blowers across all of them, and one especially big one had 4 blowers just for itself. It's like huge, massive. Various logistics. We had to move some things around because we were trying to figure out how these things were going to get plugged in, because they all needed to be near a truck, and the way that they had it laid out, there was one that was kind of off in the middle of nowhere, and so we had to move it. And then I had this experience with one of the other exhibitor activity people where he like came in and he was like, you have to move this way, I'm going. And I'm like, no, it's okay. I talked to Steven, the organizer. I'm going to be here, you're going to be over there. He's like, we'll see about that. And then he left in a huff and like with his car and drove off with his trailer. And then he came back. He's like, oh yeah, okay, you can be there. Like, thanks. Okay. So this was truck number one. So here we are, we're powering everything up. So truck number one, this one was powering 3 blowers. So because of just the way that the extension cords and all that, we had one plugged into each area of the truck, right? So the truck has 3 circuits. The F-150 lighting has 3 circuits. It's got an A and a B in the back in the bed, and it's got one in the front. So we had the front open, we had this thing plugged in, and extension cords, bright yellow extension cords run out. It was really cool and visible. We had the other 2 going into the bed. And so here's a picture of that. You can't really see, so the other cord, I'm going to stand here near the microphone, but the other cords were coming off the back and towards those bounce castles behind. So it was powering 3 blowers sort of that way. Here's the other one that was powering all 4 in the big bounce castle in the back corner. This one apparently weighs 1,000 pounds. Like, it's ridiculously heavy, just all that vinyl. And so you can see, if you look closely there, you'll see there's a black cord coming out of the truck into a yellow box. And that's a spider box that was provided by the fair. And so that takes a big 240, 30 amp input, and it splits it out into a number of 120, 15 amp outputs. And so we were able to power all 4 blowers with that, and even just like a little speaker that one of the other activity guys brought. Yeah, and so then here is the picture of the dashboard. So that was like 2,400 watts on each circuit. So yeah, 4,800 watts of blowers, and just all day, every day, all weekend. And they just like, it's just batteries and electricity. And like, it never got hot. It never got tired. It never like surged. It just did it. It was great. This is the, so when we turned up on Friday, turns out that the organizer also talked to Myers GMC and got the Sierra that was still on the lot because it wasn't sold. So that was here when we arrived, which is good because otherwise we might not have been able to power everything. But I didn't get any pictures of inside because it's got the big Silverado battery in it that's like the 800-kilometer thing. So I kept checking on it, and like it was going down, but by the end of the weekend, it was like 40% or something. So it was a champ. I didn't have to touch it, didn't have to move it. I just made sure it was still running, and it was great. So yeah, I don't have any pictures of inside. It was powering. So there's the bouncy castle here in the foreground. It had 2 blowers. And then there's not exactly bouncy castle. It's an inflatable, like a hockey shooter thing. And it had a blower and just a little control panel that they hooked onto an extension cord. So the trucks were powering all of that. Oh, didn't skip one. Okay, so I was here Friday afternoon to set up, Friday evening with the show. I was here till 10 p.m. Friday to tear down. Saturday morning, I was here at 9:30 to make sure that everything was booted up. I ran up the street to my house to watch the parade at 10 o'clock. And my kid was sick with a fever, and so I had to stay home for a few hours while my wife and other daughter came down here. And then I spent the rest of Saturday, and then all of a sudden they're here. And the only time that I was not here is when the councillor and the mayor dropped by for the photo op. So I did not get into the photo op, but that's our councillor, Laura Dudas, one of our members, Carl, mayor, and Mark, another member, and then Henry, another mayor. Member. Not a mayor, a member.
He's the night mayor. He's the EV mayor.
So this is the dashboard. I was taking pictures of the dashboard and like timing them to like estimate battery percentages. By about 8:30, we shut down. This was the one powering the big 4 lower bouncy castle. 8:30 we shut it down because it was getting down to 8%. The F-150s do a reserve range, but they do like, I need to make sure I have 15 kilometers of range, and that doesn't always mesh with the battery percentage that's on screen, right? So Just out of an abundance of caution at 8:30, we knew it was going to shut down before 10. So out of abundance of caution, 8:30, we shut it down just to make sure no one was trapped on it.
So this is on the Saturday night, right?
This is, this is Saturday night. So at this point, the trucks had powered, they arrived at 100%. They had powered the bouncy castles from about 2:30 or so Saturday till
Friday.
10 Friday. Sorry. Yes, thank you. From about 2:30 Friday to 10 p.m. that night. And then again, starting at 9:30 in the morning, Saturday morning. And so at about 8:30 p.m., this one, we turned this one off preemptively. Most of the paying customers were already gone by that point. And it was just like teenagers kind of running amok. So like, whatever. And then the rest of them stayed online till 10, at which point we shut them down for the fireworks. So it was noisy, like it was, I'm gonna go back a bit here to this is our booth. So there was a blower just underneath the table there. And so it was noisy behind the bouncy castles because of the blowers. And so this was a vendor alley. And it was kind of noisy there because of the blowers. But when you're in between the castles, like where the families were, you could barely hear them. It was great. Okay, so yeah, here's the usage. So we used about 5% an hour. And we were looking about 27 hours total is what we ran them for. Sorry, 5% on the F-150s. Again, I didn't track the battery usage on the Sierra because it was good. It was good. I never had to like, I think we're getting close and like take pictures. It was just fine. So the F-150s Saturday night, we pulled out, took them up the street. I took one of them to my house, and a neighbor across the street has a hybrid Jeep. And I asked him if he minded if I used his level 2 charger, and he did not. So I charged there. That's a fun story. He has a hybrid Jeep. And he was level 1 charging for a long time, but he was having trouble like using the battery to its fullest potential. And so he asked me about some stuff, and I said, yeah, you can get a level 2 and it'll charge faster. And then once they got the level 2, they're like, oh my goodness, it's a life changer. They are now able to like go run some errands, come back, plug in for half an hour, like fill up their battery, go back out, do some soccer, like plug in. And so they're able to use a lot more electricity, which is good for them. So yeah, we charged there. So I had the 2 F-150s on opposite sides of the street, charging up and ready to go for Sunday morning. So then we don't really have anything for Sunday because we came down, plugged everything back in, and everything worked. And then when the fun fair was over, we packed everything up and took them back to Jim Key. So the results, obviously cheaper the generators. So that's pretty cool. See, I stole my own thunder earlier. So it was noisy behind the structures. So that was a problem for the vendor alley. I don't know if we can do much about that just because of the way the area is, but maybe we can think about that for next year. But there was no generator noise. So it was definitely quieter on this half of the fair than it was on this half of the fair that had food trucks with all kinds of generators and stuff.
So one thing you didn't mention is that these generators have to be fed regularly if you're using generators. And in this case, that was not required, right? So that's another benefit.
They do have to be fed regularly. I had to feed the trucks on Saturday though.
Yeah, we're not topping up the gas tanks every 4 hours.
It's true.
I run events with generators.
Is that how often? I've never used a generator.
And then you got to deal with that smelly.
Is it like every 4 hours you have to be filling that up?
Yeah.
Okay. So that would have been at least 3 times Saturday alone.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
And they waived the fee.
And they were so happy with the results of the event and my involvement. Thanks. Thank you. That they waived our exhibit fee, so which is nice. Yeah.
We paid for ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anytime I mentioned to anyone that we were powering the bouncy castles, they were always surprised. Oh, wow, really? You can do that in the trucks? And we're like, yeah, totally, you can. So everyone was really happy. I think everyone subconsciously knew that it was less noisy, but didn't necessarily know why. And then when I told them, I think that they clued in and realized.
We can get the vendor trucks to
The food trucks.
The food truck. Yeah. I asked one of them about their generator, how big it was or something, or I looked at it and it looked like to be about a 30-amp plug. I mean, it would be good for them. Like they need a truck to pull their food truck in anyway. So then it's just a Silverado and they just plug it in the back. That'd be cool. I think that one's going to be, we'd need probably one per truck and there was 4 or 5 food trucks. So we'd need like 7 or 8.
What we could do is have signs next year that shame the food trucks, be like, you're entering the noisy zone. Courtesy of gas generator.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
And we won't get away from the reefer either.
Yeah.
That was the noisiest generator.
Yeah.
The reefer truck was just loud.
Yeah.
Cool.
The real answer will be putting more plugs on the outside of this building.
Don't get me started. I'm not. He maxed out that panel already.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's the end of this one. Oh, no. So we had some good conversations. So everyone was surprised we could do this.
Is that you?
That is me. I mean, who is that?
You're in the sky.
We had some really good conversations, had a good one with the young couple who was asking all the right questions, but like in the right way. They were very genuine about it. They weren't like, oh, I heard EVs can't go very far. They were like, oh, like, what's the range? You know, we were taking some road trips and we'd like to know. And they were really genuinely curious. So that was really cool. And then of course there's the blockheads who, you know, took one look at the truck and said, I'll never get one of those. And I said, why not? And he goes, I don't trust lithium.
In your cell phone.
So you don't use cell phones?
That'd be the reply.
You
didn't think about it, right?
I don't trust lithium. It's a salt,
It
dude.
just it blindsided me. So I'm like, I don't trust lithium, as if it's like big lithium is like trying to get it into our food or something. Like I didn't know what to say. I tried to engage him. He kept walking away. So I just let him go. It's fine.
Maybe a psychiatrist wanted him on lithium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally, like people take lithium.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
Whatever.
All right. Okay, now I think that might be it. Yeah, okay. All right. So, subject number 2. Plugged in Father's Day. So I got a new barbecue on Father's Day. Actually the day before Father's Day, but you know, doesn't matter. Details. My wife and I are trying to #stop burning stuff, and all right, so my wife and I are trying to #stop burning stuff, right? And so the only things we have left are our natural gas barbecue and our natural gas furnace. Even though we have a heat pump, you know, you need that auxiliary source of heat sometimes. Mike, you can't see it, but Mike's shaking his head. We're gonna try. We'll get there, Mike. So anyway, we were lamenting that there's not going to be a solution for barbecues because North America has 120 volts, and like all you can get is, you know, 1.3 kilowatts, like kitchen grill size, right? If you can put it in a barbecue container, but it's still just a kitchen grill. Right? You have one of those, yeah. How much does it suck? A lot. Yeah. So I said, oh, we'll have to import something from Europe where they have 240, and we'll just make sure we get the right plug, and like it'll be janky but fine. And my wife said, well, let's see if something exists. And she Googled 240 volt barbecue Canada, and she came up with this, the Napoleon Road EQ 365. In case you missed it because it's too small, it has a plug. So it uses a 1450 plug. We probably mostly all recognize this because if you have a plug-in EVSE, it probably has this plug. So it's pretty cool. It is 5.5 kilowatts, which is about 23 amps. And so it works on a 30 amp circuit, and it goes, you know, 90 degrees room temperature, outside temperature to 460 in 10 minutes. So it heats up super quick.
What's that in Celsius?
I don't know because it's about 200 and something.
It's about
My
2 something. Fahrenheit is basically half a Celsius, and they cross over at -40.
Fahrenheit is a made-up schedule that's useless and stupid.
yeah, but people still use it for cooking, so
Whatever.
yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
So 32 Celsius to, what was that other number?
It doesn't matter.
460.
Looks like the
Hot.
237.
237, there you go. Right. We can put that on the screen now.
There you go.
So it's a bit smallish.
That's the
It's-
thumbnail right there.
Pardon?
That was the thumbnail.
Yeah. So it's smallish, like you can buy barbecues that are like 16 burners wide, right? Like, so this is kind of 2 burners wide. It's a bit small, but it looks just like a barbecue. Like it's barbecue. It has an oven and smoker mode, and it has an app, which is super janky and terrible. But it has a smoker box. You can put some wood chips and you put it under the grill right on top of the element, and it will smoke and keep things at like 200 degrees with like smoking. And I did this already in oven mode. We had a frozen dinner and we're like, oh, it's hot. We don't want to cook a frozen dinner out inside and battle the AC. And so we just plugged in the barbecue and tossed it in there, put it on oven mode, 450 please. An hour later I went out and it was done.
Oh,
And that was it, yeah. And it just kept itself at the right temperature because it's just an oven outside.
now I want one.
You should have one, yeah. So it's a really good way to hashtag stop burning stuff and still cook outside. Here with the zoomed in picture, you may see the element underneath. It's just an electrical element. Looks just like in your stove. It kind of winds a little bit, and that's it. It collects lots of grease and droppings, and so they burn and give you that nice kind of, I've cooked on this before, barbecue sort of taste. And there's very little flare-ups. And so the sausages and the burgers that I've been cooking are a lot less black. So apparently I'm a terrible barbecue.
So it literally helps you stop burning stuff.
Yeah, it's not burning both methane and food. Yeah, it's not a hashtag stop burning stuff. Yeah. So now that I've got this, that left the furnace, and we actually decided, hey, maybe we'll try space heaters. And so we called Enbridge, and as of tomorrow, no, not tomorrow, July 2nd, they're going to come and lock my meter. So I will not be, I won't have access to methane anymore.
Yay!
Yeah, we'll see. We'll try it out. I fiddled with my Ecobee, and hopefully it will run the heat pump for longer.
Good for a party.
A stop burning stuff party.
Yeah,
Oh,
you could have a barbecue.
I could have a barbecue. The terrible thing for me is that I have to plug this into my EVSE plug, which is at the front of my garage. But the way my house faces, the front of my house is in the afternoon blazing sun, whereas my backyard is lovely and shady and peaceful. So I have to now barbecue out on the driveway in the sun.
Or,
Party out in the back on the deck,
Yeah,
and you could.
Yeah.
Over the.
you know,
That's what
there's
happened on
these
Thursday.
people, I've heard of these people called electricians, something like that. And they can run a plug
so
wherever you need it to.
yeah. So I need to text my electrician friend.
Yeah.
And ask him my options, because really I don't have any room in my panel for a new circuit.
Yeah, share a
So-
circuit.
As long as I can share it with the EVSE, that'd be fine. But I don't
It's
know. if that's
yeah,
allowed.
you don't have to worry about that, Adam, because unlike an EVSE, this is not a constant load. It's not going to factor the same into your load calc. So if there's not physically space in your panel, you can just add a sub panel. And usually the problem people run into is not the fact that there's a physical amount of space, because you can always just add a sub panel. The actual issue is you don't want to, add so many loads that you overload your panel. But this kind of thing you're going to use so rarely that I think any electrician would agree it's basically a non-factor in your load.
I don't know, now that he's not burning his food, he might use this every day.
I already have 2 sub panels. Don't want
So it's still gonna be janky, it's just in a different way than you thought.
Yeah, it's still gonna be extra janky. The panels are right where the barbecue would be. So if I could just, if it's okay with electrician and I'm okay with sharing the circuit with the EVSE, just branch off there and just go up and poke out, and that'd be it. It'd be done.
Do it.
So I gotta try to do that. But this was a spur of the moment thing. It went from, I wonder if these exist, to it's in the back of my father-in-law's truck in an hour and a half.
Wait, they were in stock?
It was in stock. I had to get the floor model, which was pristine and already assembled.
Yeah. Well, cause, yeah.
But
I think so.
yeah, I went there and they were like, I was like, what kind of plug does it have? And she was like, I don't know, I'm gonna bring it out. I'm like, yes. So she brought it out and I looked at the plug and it's like, it's 1450, we're getting it.
Okay, is your next slide the price?
No, do you want to know the price?
Yes, please.
$2,300.
Oh. Yeah, the wife's not gonna. I already have 3 barbecues, so I think for a fourth one,
Yeah.
that's $2,300 might be a little over the line.
How committed is she to stop burning stuff?
Well, yeah. Not that committed.
You know what has a really short carbon cycle, Mike?
Charcoal.
Electricity. Okay, so I can continue on now. That's the end of the barbecue. I took advantage of this being the Adam show to kind of sneak that in against the wishes of the executive.
So
So
it's very cool.
thank you. Yeah.
I approve.
Any other questions?
That's a great idea.
No.
Okay, so topic number 3, inside the DC fast charger. So as Raymond already alluded, we were contacted by an electrician via the EV Society, and they said, hey, we're installing a new fast charger at train yards. Can you bring some cars to test? And we said, can we? So we showed up
On the hottest day of the entire.
on the hottest day of the year so far.
In history.
It was so hot.
So good stress test for you.
Yeah, for us, good stress test for us. So we arrived. It's 6. It's at the Pioneer train yard, 631 Industrial. We arrived. It turns out there's 4 pedestals and 8 plugs, which is great. This is the kind of like infrastructure we need, not just one plug in the middle of nowhere. So this is what's inside. I snapped some pictures. I hope I'm allowed to take some pictures because I have them now.
They're gonna be on the internet
They're
now.
going to be on the internet now. Okay, I'm going to, you know what? I'm going to go rogue here.
Just 3 pictures
All right.
that we're looking at.
Okay, so this is the center of the cabinet. This is the left-hand side, and this is the right-hand side. I arranged them very intentionally. All right. So in the center, it's low contrast, but the people online might be able to see. There's 6 modules here on sort of the left-hand side in the center. They're black modules. Oh yeah, I should preface this. We have no idea what any of this stuff does. This is all entirely speculation here. So, we speculate that each of these is rectifying the AC into DC, and each of them handles about 30 kilowatts because the total power of the station is 180 kilowatts. So
And the
six times 30, that the math's up. Yeah. Screen, RFID reader. These are the cutouts just for the pistols. Just some other like fan stuff. This is the AC in. So the AC, it comes in AC at the bottom and gets all converted to DC in here and comes out. So it's pretty cool. It's a pretty small footprint. And you don't need great big like AC/DC rectifiers off the side like the Electrify Canada, Canadian Tire on Coventry. There's these huge boxes, right? They don't have any of that. There's a relatively large box just for like big old breakers. Actually, we'll see that in a minute. But I guess like it's since it's AC coming in here, it's all contained inside. Left-hand side. So this is the outlet for the cable for the gun. So the gun has 2 big old red wires, 2 big old black wires. They're, connected through connectors back into the cabinet. There's some communication wire in there. The guy, it was a really big cable, and we said, wow, those are really big cables. And he said, yeah, they're liquid cooled. And then later I looked and I'm like, hey, where's the liquid? And he looks and he's like, oh, I guess they're not liquid cooled. Because it's all just electricity stuff going in there. So there isn't really anything to see inside the cabinet on this side. And over here on the right-hand side, same thing. There's the cable for the gun. And this side was more interesting. There's all kinds of electronics and like yellow caution symbols and stuff where you're gonna, die if you touch. And please tell me yes. Okay, so this is a zoom in of the right-hand side at the top. You can't read it here in the room. Sorry, people, you might be able to see it online. But these right here are big 600 amp fuses. They're like slightly smaller than a pop can. They were big. Uh, so the
They're like a Red Bull can.
like a Red Bull can.
Yeah.
They were like a short one.
Oh, yeah, like the short pop.
Yeah, the short
yeah.
ones. Yeah,
Little
yeah.
Cokes.
So yeah, the DC was like coming through them and then down here into the gun and then back out. Over here, like this connection cabinet and then back out. And then there's the big box, and these are the 4 breakers for the four starter pedestals. And it's, it's like what, 6 feet tall, 7 feet tall, 4 or 5 feet wide. So it's not like enormous, but it is there. And it's, when it's closed up, it's not blank, of course. Oh, hey, even more zoomed in. You might be able to read that. A giant 600 amp fuses. Yeah. There is this screen is right here. There's probably speculating again, an RFID reader here. The reason we think that is because when we arrived, they had energized station number 1, and the electrician was on the phone with the support group in Texas. And the Texas guy was like, okay, we'll do a software update. So we pushed the software update, and it was taking a long time. And when we arrived, it's like, oh, I wish we had got the software update done in time. And then it did, it completed. And then it said, please tap your RFID card. And we're like, well, we don't have one. And we're like, hey, Texas, can you start that for us? And no, he was busy doing other things. So there's no markings on the outside of the cabinet here. So there's an obvious kind of rectangle, right? You can see this black rectangle. That's obvious from the outside too. So people are just gonna put their card here or here or something, not next to the reader. I think that's a bad stuff.
But they don't use cards.
But no one uses cards anyway, so sorry. And screen. Oh, what I found really interesting was it uses RJ45, which most people might know as Ethernet. I'm going to guess that it's not actually using Ethernet. It's probably just using Ethernet connectors, RJ45 connectors, because they're super common and easy to get. But they're probably transporting serial, which I thought was really cool.
Nerd.
We are all nerds here at Mike. Glass houses, man. So yeah, ultimately, 178 kilowatts, which is super great. So we got charged for free that day. Charging is still free, or at least it was on Saturday. I think it still is. So if anyone is listening live and not in October, you can probably go to 631 Industrial and get yourself some free 180 kilowatts.
Take that, Electrify Canada.
Yeah. What's next? Oh yeah. So then we moved the Kilowatts and Coffee event from 10 Toes to this one. Sorry, that guy that didn't get the message. I'll try better next time. So we filled up all the spots. We were all, well, not quite all. 7 of us were charging because someone had a Max car. I don't know.
Forgot the adapter.
Yeah, it didn't have an adapter because these are CCS plugs. So we had all 7 of us going at once. I think the charging speed suffered because of it. Because I was here at the end and we had Mr. Max, and I was only getting 100 kilowatts or something. So overall, I think the speed suffered. But I mean, 7 cars at 100 kilowatts piece, maybe that's nothing to sneeze at. So this is honestly pretty good. I am quite happy that they've done this because if I were an investor in a gas station company, I would be asking why we're not installing electric chargers. Because I mean, I'm an EV person, but still, gas stations are a dead end. We can argue about how long it's going to be, but eventually they're going to shut down and they're going to need gasoline anymore. So what are these companies doing to diversify their portfolio against the oncoming economic crisis that they are going to experience? Well, these guys are installing EV chargers, so that's super cool.
Did you check out their map?
Did I check out the map? No, I didn't check out the map.
They are Journey. If you go to the Journey website and look at their map of chargers, they're carpet bombing Ontario They have like 5 of them are live, and then there's a bunch of gray pins like everywhere.
Sweet. That's awesome to see.
Yeah.
Cool.
And all of them are 150 or faster.
I should have put that in the slides. So
I know.
maybe you can insert that here.
More editing.
I think Raymond put one more. Yes. And they have signs about etiquette too. So it says, 100 max 180. Woo. How to charging etiquette, please unplug at 80 and move your vehicle. Don't unplug one that's currently charging. I know we say that in etiquette all the time, but like mine locks the charger while it's charging. So
But they don't do the
say
same.
anything.
They don't all do it.
You don't, okay. And then put the connector back, obviously, you keep it tidy. Pay with the Journey app. So yeah, another app you have to use, but I mean, it's not too bad. And you open it up and it actually has this slider at the top between gas mode and EV mode, so that it only shows you the EV stuff, which is kind of cool.
But it still pushes discounts on gasoline.
Yeah, but there's
Yeah.
no wallet, right? You pay what you.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no wallet. It's, you pre-authorize up to $50 and then so that's nice to see. Oh yeah, one of them was only charging at 150 kilowatts instead of 180. So we went inside to let them know, like, maybe one of the modules has blown because that's 30 kilowatts off, right? So right, 6 modules. Math, yeah. And so it's poor young woman. I was like, hey, one of the pedestals is only charging at 150 kilowatts instead of 180. She goes blindsided, but she's like, my colleague's in the bathroom, just give me a minute. I'm like, okay, that's fine. So, I kind of backed away politely. And then she starts out a customer, and then I think she remembered something. She looked at me, she goes, sir. I'm like, yeah. She's like, it depends on the capability of your car. She's very happy with herself, but she remembered. I'm like, it was like, so they received, I asked her later, they received training on this, which is even cooler. So at the time I was like, thank you, I understand that, but my car, I didn't get into how awesome EGMP is. EGMP, yeah, woo! And so I said, no, when I go to this charger, it's 150, and then when I move to the next one, it's 180. So it's not the car, it's the charger. So then she's like, oh, okay. So then she asked me to go out and show her. So I showed her. She went in and talked to the manager or something, and came back out and said, okay, well, we're gonna let the electricians know, and we're gonna ask for a service call. So that was pretty cool. I guess that is to say that if you run into broken chargers, tell someone. That should be on that etiquette too. That's the other thing. I called the 1-800 number here, and I navigated the phone tree forever, and finally got in touch with someone. And I was like, I don't know if I'm in the right spot, but there's a problem with the charger. And she said to go inside and tell them inside. So maybe don't always call. If there's an attendant, like a gas station style thing, maybe go inside. Unless it's broken. I think that's it now. Yes, it is. On to the major points. Thank you.
Hey, everybody.
Bye.
So, Lawrence, do you want me to, next slide, I guess?
Can you hear me okay?
Yep. Loud and clear.
Okay, cool. So our first item is not something that I pulled out of a news outlet, but a story that I sort of put together myself based on some stuff that I've seen and information that I've obtained directly from Ivy. So, people might be interested to know about the updates that have been rolling out at the Ivy charging stations along the 401 that are located at the en route rest stops. It was announced a little while ago that there'd be some updates, and now some of them have been installed. So there's some good, there's some bad, definitely a lot of criticism we can put, but also some good news. So the good news is they went with pretty solid equipment. They went with ChemPower dispensers that are known to be highly reliable. There's going to be the capability to plug in more cars at a time than previously, but not by much. So technically, there's going to be 6 plugs that can all be used simultaneously. However, one of the plugs is going to be CHAdeMO, so that's good news for Leaf drivers who still want to use those chargers. But in all practical terms, it really means that most of the time, a maximum of 5 cars will be able to charge because the amount of Leafs that use these stations is so infrequent. So we're basically going from being able to use 4 to being able to use 5. The unfortunate thing, though, is that the total or the maximum power you can get is actually kind of a downgrade for most cars. So I'll explain. So all of the cables have been limited to 200 amps. So there's an amperage limit. But the odd thing is the ChemPower dispensers can handle more than that. I don't know exactly how many amps. I think it's 500. But those dispensers can output 325 kilowatts, probably at 500 amps. And Ivy has chosen to limit each plug to 200. So if you're on a 400 or if you're on a 400 volt car, you should be limited to about 80 kilowatts peak. If you're on an 800 volt car, you'll get up to about 160.
Woo,
and that,
HMP.
yeah. But you're going to pay 69 cents per kilowatt hour for that privilege.
The kilowatt hour is the same whether it's going in at 160 kilowatts or 80 kilowatts.
Yeah.
But if
Well,
we did the 27
yeah.
bucks an hour, it's like 17.
Yeah, the per hour pricing works out for us right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, the per hour pricing works out well for you. Now, the other downside though is if somebody plugs into the same dispenser as you, for sure that's going to affect your power. I'm not sure if there's site-wide power sharing or if the power sharing is just happening between the 2 plugs on each dispenser, if that makes sense. But either way, the kind of 160 kilowatt is the best case scenario if the site's empty and you have an 800 volt car. What most people are actually going to experience at this station is more like about 60 kilowatts. That's what I experienced when I pulled in and the station was almost full. So some tips for drivers. If you do want to rely on these stations or they're just convenient for you because you stop at en routes and you want to be able to plug in, I would highly suggest having an adapter. If you have a CCS car, having a NACS adapter. If you have a NACS car, have a CCS adapter. I mean, it's good to have them either way, regardless of the en route situation. But if you have one of those adapters, it means that you're going to be able to plug in to any plug except for the CHAdeMO one, which should mean that, if the site is busy, most likely all of the CCS ones are going to be taken. That was the case when I showed up. The 2 NACs were unused. The 3 CCS were all used. So so to clarify, the pricing right now is hourly because they haven't completed the necessary certifications to do kilowatt hour billing. And I expect that once that's done, they will change the pricing to the rest of what they charge on their network, which is 69 cents per kilowatt hour, which is, quite high. Like some of the supercharger stations are as low as 43, even in the middle of the day, can go as low as 30 off peak. They're usually around 50. But if you're just stopping to grab a coffee at the en route and you want to get a little bit of juice while you're there, I would still plug in just for the convenience factor. So if you think that they should do more, you should write to them. Importantly, and I've already done this, you should tell them, I will spend more money at your chargers if you make them better. They need to hear that from people because they need to see the business case to make the chargers faster. And maybe if they had more chargers, high enough utilization, they could have, make the prices a bit lower because they'd be collecting enough revenue to pay for the infrastructure. So I don't know what's holding up their prices. They're just charging this because they can, because they have to. I have no idea.
Well, it's too late now, isn't it? It's too late now. They just did a life cycle. So now those have to be in place
not
for
too
another
late.
5 years.
They can throw in more power modules. So the nice thing about the ChemPower dispensers is that they are far more capable than what they're currently using them for. So they don't have to rip out the dispensers. In all likelihood, if they want to increase the charging speed at the sites, I think what's actually limiting them is the transformers coming in. I know for a fact, well, as factual as it can be from some anonymous person telling me in a Reddit comment, but the Trenton sites, north and south, currently only have 2 Kempower dispensers, and they have 2 of the legacy 50 kilowatt. And the reason for that apparently is that they only have 300 kVA transformers at those sites. And so they didn't have enough power available to put in the full 3 Kempowers with all the power modules. So the experience you get at different sites might actually vary. That's also unclear. Like none of this is really clear. And I sent a lot of questions to Ivy. They just sent me back very generic corporate speak saying, you know, we want to improve this user experience for users, blah, 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 like stuff like that. They did clarify the thing about the pricing, you know, and they said that there's dynamic power sharing, but they didn't really explain to what extent. So they didn't really go into any technical details with me. So we kind of have to just figure that stuff out on our own. But I think if they either, you know, increase the size of the transformer coming in, or they add on-site battery storage, you know, that's what they need to get the power numbers up. So if they see they're going to get a whole bunch more customers from doing that, you know, I can imagine that would justify things for them. Anyway, we can move on to the next news item.
Can I
Yeah,
ask a
so
question? Can I ask a quick
yeah, go
question?
ahead.
Why do you think they have put in NACS adapters and the other one there didn't put in NACS adapters? I'm surprised in 2025 you would have a new supercharger go in without any NACS adapters. That seems sort of like
Yeah, so I mean, just to be clear, we're just going to call them plugs because an adapter is something used to convert one plug to another. Not to be too pedantic, but you know, just for clarity's sake. So I think the reason they put in NACS plugs was because they see that, you know, more cars are being released with them, and I guess they also want to serve Tesla customers. But yeah, I've never seen a whole lot of Teslas using those, and I mean, I can imagine why, because Tesla drivers have a lot more options along the 401 that are cheaper. But you know, most other car companies also have those, or, you know, car customers also have those options now too. Like I can't even think of any major car brands that don't have access to superchargers yet. Like don't like Kia, Hyundai, Honda, Ford, Rivian, Chevy, GMC, like they all have access, right? So who's even missing at this point?
And Craig, if you're talking about the one that we just opened, helped commission. Funny story. Apparently they were ordered with 1 CCS and 1 CHAdeMO per pedestal. And when they arrived with 2 CCS. So I think you said they have ordered new cables for NACS, and when the cables come in, I'll just replace the cables and then they'll have NACS, no problem. But it was even worse than you had imagined.
Can these companies not manage to hire people who know anything about this topic?
Apparently not.
Imagine if half the plugs were CHAdeMO, and it's,
Oh my
did
God.
they think that you'd only be able to use one plug at a time, maybe? I don't know.
I mean, when we were there commissioning it, they didn't even know if, like, the electricians didn't know if it could power share. And so I was just like, well, Adam and I have cars. Why don't we just plug 2 into the 1 pedestal and see what happens? And he's like, okay, well, we'll see with the newest software update. And so we had to wait for them to push it. And then Raymond and I ended up testing out the power sharing, and it worked. And he was like, oh, I guess they can do that.
Yeah, actually, can you remind us what happened when 2 cars plugged into the same pedestal?
So what happened is it split it in 2, so each car got 90, and it seemed like
Yeah.
it split it in 2, and that was it.
Yeah, it wasn't sophisticated. So it's not like
So
if one car
probably-
ramped down, the other one would ramp up.
Right, and it's
It would just
probably just sharing between the 2 plugs in each pedestal. Like it's not sharing the
Yeah.
power from pedestal A to pedestal D.
No.
No.
It was, and
Right
it wasn't
one.
even like, so they would both get 90. And if one car ramped itself down because it was getting close, the other car didn't ramp up. It was just stuck at 90 until the other one unplugged.
Correct, and every pedestal had 180.
Yeah.
So we checked that too.
Except for number 2 right now. Anyway, carry on. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah. So first news, other news item was just about electric car global fleet reaching 56 million. I guess that's a mile. I guess 50 million would have been a milestone. Oh, there was another question from Steve.
Yeah, Lawrence, I think you sort of answered the question in discussion with Craig about in the future, they'll probably change a lot of those CCS over to NACS as more automobile companies go the NACS route.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, most of the charger dispenser manufacturers make it pretty easy to swap a CCS to a NACS cable because they actually have the same pin out. They're basically just shaped differently. So it's pretty easy to swap one for the other because the end that hooks up to the charger is the same on either one.
Yeah, no, that's great. No, I think en route is probably getting the idea about electric cars and charging and all the issues surrounding that, as opposed to 10 years ago when people didn't have a clue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean they're definitely catching up, but they're still like they're way behind where they should be. And I mean, obviously, I think if this wasn't the PC government, we might be seeing more funding going towards the en route stations for this. We might be seeing a better situation for this, but yeah. Oh, another thing, I don't know if I even put it on the slide or clarified, was that there's credit card readers added to the new pedestals as well, which is really nice. However, they apparently don't work yet. Don't know the timeline on that. Yeah, so crossed the 50 million fleet milestone, and we're actually at 56 now. More than half are in China. And there was a little bit of a kind of plateau in the fleets levels, partly because there were a lot of like first gen fleet EVs in China that are being decommissioned now, like probably first gen Leaf level technology stuff. So yeah, but there's still lots of new fleet stuff going online too. Anyway, not too much to say about the news item, but just an interesting number. Okay, we can get, yeah. Volkswagen ID4 is going to get an update next year, and they've also confirmed that there's going to be a Volkswagen Golf GTI that's going to be all electric. It's going to be front wheel drive apparently. I don't know how that's going to work out because my Kia Soul can break its wheels loose with its glorious 100 horsepower. But I'm sure it'll be fun to rip around in that thing. So yeah, Volkswagen's basically clarifying that they want to move more to a button-heavy user interface design. And what you see in the picture there is from one of their concept cars, but that should more closely resemble the new ID4 interface compared to the current one. I mean, what you see in the picture doesn't have a ton of buttons, but yeah, they brought back some of the things for like climate control, volume. Yeah, I think all you need is really like a row of buttons under the screen to do your critical stuff. Don't need to make it way too cluttered either, but
there was a couple studies that were recently sort of unearthed and put together that were showing that touchscreens in cars were more distracting than cell phones even. They are more dangerous to have the touchscreen than using a cell phone. And so it's good to see cars returning to physical buttons that you're able to operate without having to take your eyes off the road.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason not to have a few buttons. All right. The new Nissan Leaf finally was fully unveiled this month. Better late than never, I guess. The Leaf is finally becoming a modern EV. And it has a pretty quirky feature as well. So they've added a NACS charging port, but it also has a J1772 port. It doesn't have CCS though. And the quirk here is that you can only AC charge, i.e. level 1 or level 2 charge with the J1772 port, and you can only DC charge with the NACS port. and they located the NACS port on the front right of the car to make it convenient for plugging into superchargers. So, I mean, it'll cause some confusion for some users, I think, but not actually that terrible if you think about it, because most public level 2s are still J7072. So, and it being on the left will make it, wait, no, sorry, it being on the left won't make it convenient for street charging. Never mind that. Okay,
Yeah,
so
no.
that's exactly ideal.
Nissan's not gonna survive to have this car launch anyway, so it's fine.
So it's launching at the end of this year or early next year?
Yeah, but Nissan just stopped paying its vendors, so
Mhm.
apparently.
Okay.
Hey, Lawrence, if you have a Tesla and you're thinking about buying a new EV and you have a Tesla destination charger, that's not going to work for a lot of people.
Yeah, it's just weird. It's Nissan.
Yeah, I mean, you can just get a converter. So, yeah, I mean, if you want to,
Yeah, you can get an adapter. Sure, yeah,
charger with JSON2, you can use an adapter for that too. So that would be the only adapter that this car needs. In fact, I think, well, maybe it would probably want to have a CCS adapter as well. So yeah, that'd be pretty funny. Is that you'd have to, if you want to charge at a CCS station, you'd have to plug your CCS plug into a CCS to NACS adapter and plug into your NACS side, and then your J7072 on the other side, which could partly mate with the CCS plug, will go unused. Yeah, all around weird. I kind of like how quirky it is. But yeah, no, it's getting
it's
like
kind of dumb for me.
It follows the Leaf tradition of having two separate plugs for the different types of charging.
Yeah, it does. And the first gen Kia Soul EV, which was Kia ripping off the Leaf.
Yeah.
To me, this is another indication that Nissan is not understanding the market properly.
Well, okay, so actually, I do want to clarify that this is not a case of Nissan did this on purpose because they thought it was a good idea. They are only doing this because they their commitment to NACS happened a little bit late in the development cycle of the Leaf, and they couldn't coordinate with their suppliers and with the engineering to get the car capable of switching between DC and AC on one port. So they decided, rather than giving the car a CCS port, they would still give it NACS, but they would do this instead, which allows them to not have to switch between DC and AC on the same pins.
So to me, that's yet again a red flag, because between the release of the vehicle and when the decision to go NACS occurred, there's at least 2 years. And if they can't do a change like that in 2 years, there's a problem.
Yeah.
In my opinion, anyways.
It's fine, it's Nissan. Whatever.
But anyways,
6 years behind schedule anyway.
Exactly. And this car's gonna cost like $50,000, so who cares? Just buy a Bolt.
Yeah, so U.S. economy continues to shoot itself in the foot for the future, but we're seeing some delays in investment, some divestments from U.S. manufacturing. There was a lot of commitment to build more battery manufacturing. Some of it's still going forward, but this is one example of a plant that's basically being delayed. I think they're taking the money, and yeah, they were going to build a facility for EV batteries. They're going to still use it, so not the one that's being canceled, but there's another one, and use it to make grid level battery storage instead. So at least that won't go to waste, and the capacity can be repurposed later on or whatever, right? But yeah, just another example of the wide-reaching consequences of policy uncertainty and tariffs.
next slide.
Yep. Yeah, and a story about Tesla's China sales falling again. People kind of flocking to some of the Xiaomi products. 300,000 pre-orders on the YU7, which is basically their SUV or their Model Y to the SU7, which also set a Nürburgring lap record recently. And the video for it looks absolutely insane. They like ripped everything out of the car. It was literally just a guy strapped to a battery on wheels. Pretty cool. Yeah, and they're of course facing competition from BYD. People are leaving the company because they don't want to work for Elon anymore. We'll see where this goes.
Let's move on to events. So past events, there was only really Kilowatts and Coffee.
Mhm.
Okay, so Kilowatts and Coffee for month of June, so June 7th, you saw that, and actually apologies again for June 28th. We changed this at the last minute, thinking it would be a great idea, and actually it turned out to be it was fun. I thought it was fun. It was different, and there was coffee and other stuff, so and we had I thought a good time anyway. So we ended up having what 11 cars total at one point, I think it was.
Yeah.
And great event, I think. So the other event, like I said, is the Blackburn Fun Fair, and Adam has covered that much more entertainingly than I could. So I'll skip the rest. One thing I will mention though is that because of this powering the event stuff, there's at least 2 other events, actually probably 3 this year, that we're going to do something similar. And we seem to be the first people who have tried this in Ontario at least. And that is actually generating discussion at the Electrical Safety Authority level to see how they should approve or not these type of things, right? So it's good to get that along the way and see progress there, but it's the first time that they encounter something like that. So upcoming events. So monthly meeting, July 28th, we'll have it here at the Blackburn Community Hall again. There are no refreshments, unfortunately, but you know what? It's close to my place anyway. So, but there's a bar right up. You can have a bar after. Kilowatts and Coffee, we have 3 this month. July 19th, we have another event, so we will not be doing Kilowatts and Coffee, but we're going all over the city once again in July. The 19th is the Westport Car Show. It's going to be a fairly small event, and that we're not doing test drives. We're going to do a booth and static display for the 10 to 4 p.m. So if you're interested, I think we already have 3 or 4 people, but we can always use a few more. And that's the only event in July. In August, we have the Avalon Family Barbecue. That's 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. also. We'll have a booth with cars. More details to follow. I need to follow up with the organizer to finalize that. After that, there's a Queenswood Heights Family Fun Day and Music Festival, which we did last year. That's on the 23rd of August, which again, this year is the same day as the next event. So the picture you see here is from last year. This is the first place where we tried to use cars to power things like bouncy castles. So we actually powered one bouncy castle. We had a cotton candy machine, and we had a popcorn maker, I think it was, that were powered by the cars. So, and we took the opportunity to mention that to people, and people, same as here in Blackburn, they were surprised that we could do this kind of stuff, right? So, so on the same weekend, the 23rd and 24th, we'll do Pride. So we'll be on Bank Street again. And actually registration is open, so we'll need to get that done soon. Shifts will be just like last year, so it should be, the last 2 years actually were quite fun. It's always an interesting event, and the amount of people that show up is phenomenal actually. So it will be fun again. We had talked potentially of having a car in the parade, but we haven't finalized that. If we do that, we'll certainly let you know. So next thing that's happening, this is not an EVCO event, but I want to mention it anyway. So September 20th, it's Fridays for Future. They're organizing a climate march. And so there'll be more details coming out as we get closer, but they've asked us to reserve the date. It will be somewhere in downtown Ottawa. They're talking about making sure the federal government stays aligned with essentially what our green goals. Next event is the card fair. So this year again, we will be sharing with cafes, and hoping to get either a 50 Lightning or a Silver or Sierra, so that we could power everything with that again this year. That worked really well last year. And there's a bunch of different shifts available. Those are already all up. The events I'm talking about here, they're already all up on the volunteer spreadsheet. That is it for upcoming events. So again, if your membership is always appreciated, if I can put it that way. So the basic principle is you get one meeting for free, then we ask that you become a member. You could donate if you want to. There's different levels of membership that will give you, eventually will give you some different benefits. Last thing I'll mention is Mike sort of alluded to it, the EVCO YouTube channel. So we have a bunch of stuff on there. Mike just posted a presentation he did last year at
Leonard, I think it was, the climate.
Leonard, yes, Almont.
In Almont, yeah.
Almont, yeah. So lots of interesting stuff to see there. So if I would encourage you to go there and to subscribe, please. We want to get those numbers up. Numbers are very high. This is a new one from today. We have 116 subscribers. So and if you don't know anything about YouTube, the more subscribers you have and likes and all that, the more they show up. But,
Probably would help if I posted more videos.
What's that?
It would help if I posted our videos sometime.
Yeah, it would help, yeah. And actually, we talked about doing other stuff. We talked about putting some short videos on specific topics to make it easier for people to
How's that going?
consume the
Three
content.
presentations to make.
Okay.
So because the content right now is mostly very long meetings, which and long presentations, which are not necessarily something that, the average person would want to just, look at, right? So we'll get that done in the next few months. If anybody wants to help with that, we're always looking for help. But on that note, that is the end of the recording, and we'll be doing the roundtable. So if you're interested in participating in roundtable, you have to do that live. So I would encourage you to join us live in the future.